Good morning, I'm Brandon, this is Kalie. Today we're going to be showing you guys how we wash our very dirty cars. ID4 has been sitting for about a week and also, actually sitting for a couple days and hasn't been washed in almost 2 weeks. And the Mini Cooper SE just got back from a 700-mile road trip after buying it. Be sure to hit the link above to watch that video. But first, we need to go grab some Starbucks before we can wash the cars. Let's take a moment to thank today's video sponsor, EV Wash. They sell a line of more environmentally friendly cleaning products for your EV or really any car. All of their products come in reusable aluminum bottles. They sell refill pouches that you can buy that's less expensive than these bottles. That way you're also making less impact on the environment. Let's try out their glass cleaner on Kalie's Cooper SE windshield. Don't need a whole lot of product, and they do actually sell specific cloths for each purpose. Works great, and there's a code down below for 30% off your order. And again, thank you to EV Wash for sponsoring today's video. So Kalie, we got our Starbucks. What else did you get?
I bought some cups, and by bought I mean I used my points to buy them. We got 2 of these. I just pulled out one though because, yeah, they're the same.
And we both got the same Starbucks drink. We got iced honey almond milk flat white, light ice
Oat milk.
with oat milk.
Yeah.
And yours is kind of making a mess there.
Oh?
Yeah, on the side that you can't see.
Oh.
But anyway, we're about to head back, wash the cars.
You're just licking my drink. Oh well.
We got our Starbucks. We're getting set up to wash the cars. I got our pressure washer out, about to fill the foam cannon with some fresh soap and water. I've got my 2 buckets down here, one for rinse, one for soap. I'm totally moving the wrong direction, but you get the point. Let me show you how dirty the ID4 is before I show you guys how we get this set up. So the back end is definitely where the ID4 is the most dirty. You can especially see like up in here, all the water spots. Kind of around the wheel wells here, not too terrible. Actually the front end is not too bad, but does have some bug splatters and such. But we're gonna be using a foam cannon today. We've got a Chemical Guys foam cannon, some Chemical Guys wash. Ryobi cheap pressure washer, but it does the job. And the 2 bucket method. So here we have the foam cannon. This hooks up to the pressure washer. Fill this about 1/4, 1/3 full with soap. We're gonna do that. Then you fill the rest of it with water.
Don't spill.
I'll try not to. If I was smart, I would have brought a funnel.
It's not like we don't have multiple inside.
Oops.
Probably good.
So there we have about 1/4, 1/3-ish full. Gotta put the cap on here again. Then we're gonna fill the rest of the way with water. From the hose here. That was just foam that overflowed a little bit. The hose back in there. Spin it back up. Foam cannon's ready to go. Let's rinse off the car first with the pressure washer, and then we'll get the foam cannon next. So one of the prime reasons we're going to be using a foam cannon and why we also use a pressure washer is that in order to reduce swirls and keep the car paint looking as good as possible, you actually want to reduce how much you're touching the car, and you do that by using high pressure water rather than scrubbing out the car. But yeah, let's do the foam cannon. Let some of those surface contaminants be released by letting the foam sit for a moment. Then we'll use our microfiber mitt with the 2-bucket method and get the car nice and clean. So here we have the foam cannon set up. You can get shorter pressure washer wands, but this one works just fine. To adjust the consistency of the foam, you spin this knob here, and you can actually spin this as well to adjust the direction that the foam is spraying. I don't usually adjust that too much, but I do sometimes adjust the knob just depending on how thick the concentrate of the soapy water is. So let's get to this, make the car nice and soapy. So even after soaping up the entire car, we only used probably less than a quarter of the sprayer here, and it is plenty soapy. But we're gonna let it soak for just a moment here, kind of release some of those contaminants on the paint surface. Then I'm gonna pull out the microfiber mitt and give it a good hand wash. So here we have the 2-bucket method. I've got a rinse bucket here, it has a little bit of soap in it just from washing off the pressure washer wand. We have our microfiber mitt. I'm gonna wring that out so I can get as much soap in it as possible. Soap is your lubricant when you're washing your car to help keep you from scratching the surface. And here we have our soapy bucket. You can see the surface almost looks like a latte. The foam is so thick. And we always want to work from the top down. Now that we've washed a little bit, I'm going to dunk the mitt into the rinse bucket, kind of get some of the contaminants off. We do have grit guards in both of these. Then we go back in the soapy bucket, back on the car. You don't want to be applying too much pressure. You kind of just want to let the mitt glide across the surface with all that soapy goodness from the foam cannon and from the soapy mitt. It should kind of just glide along the surface pretty darn easily. We're going to go back and rinse. Get inside your door handles. If you're short, you may need a step stool. Calling you out, Kalie, to reach the roof of your car. You want to get every nook and cranny, including inside spoilers like this. Lift the wipers up as you can. reminder for those license plate lights in that area there. Lots of dirt can accumulate in there. Always want to get wheels last since they tend to be the dirtiest. Not as much on EVs, just with the regen braking, reducing your brake dust. But that way your mitt stays clean as long as it can. Gotta get in those nooks and crannies. If they're really dirty, you should probably use a dedicated mitt, but mine are not too dirty. And if they're especially dirty, you can even use a wheel cleaner that helps eat away at that brake dust and make them especially clean for you. Now it's time to rinse the car off. Back with the pressure washer, we're going to start it again from the top down and get all the soap off. So Kaylee and I disagree a little bit on this step of using a squeegee, but I like it because it takes a lot of the water off. First step, you always want to rinse it to make sure there's no dirt or anything on it, because that will just scratch your car. So we're going to rinse it, then we're going to get a lot of the water off. Your goal is not to get the car completely dry, it's just to get the majority of the water off, so that way you don't have to absorb as much into towels.
I just don't trust that sound.
Alright, and now that we've got the car a decent bit dry, we're actually going to be using Wash Your EV's products today. Got their case here, and we're going to be using their waterless wash. We did it with a complete wash. We're going to be using their waterless wash as a spray to dry down the car. Switch it to spray. And I'm going to be using one of my Costco microfibers here, just being that their cloth is targeted more towards cleaning up spot messes, whereas I'm actually drying the car. So this is EV Washes, or Wash Your EVs, 100% biodegradable waterless wash. It actually comes in an aluminum can, and they sell refills. We use this by spraying it on the car here. Not a ton, but just enough to coat the surface. And we're going to use a microfiber very gently.
It smells very good.
And just to get the water off. Again, we're not rubbing on the car, we're just kind of pulling the cloth along to absorb the water. Then you always want to switch surfaces of your microfiber as you switch between panels. And again, you don't have to get it completely dry, because this does help it dry cleanly without water spots. So you're just trying to get as much of the moisture off as you can. And then you can always go back and dry it more or spray a little bit more and then wipe it off again if for some reason you do get water spots. This waterless wash is safe for all surfaces. We can use it on glass, on the paint, on the exposed plastic, all without issues. You always want to be careful around your emblems so that you're not snagging them. And kind of wash inside. That's a thing that's commonly missed when washing a car. Did switch microfibers. That one was getting a bit wet, so we'll have to dry that one before we use it again. And whenever you're washing a car, you always want to try and do it in a cool, shaded spot whenever possible. But if you are doing it in a spot that's a little bit sunnier and you risk the car drying while you're washing it, you want to do your best to keep it wet. So to do a proper wash, this step is kind of optional. I always like to open all the doors to let the door jambs dry out and also wipe them down. And then after we open all the doors to make efficient use of time, we're gonna actually wipe down the wheels while the doors are dripping before we go in and wipe the door jambs. So let's get the wheels here. Some nice little spray there. And this waterless wash does give you a little bit of protection and helps keep brake dust from sticking quite as well. Luckily with the ID4 having drum brakes in the rear, you don't get much of any brake dust. You're mostly just cleaning off the dirt from the road and driving. You always want to be very cautious that you don't let the cloth touch the ground, otherwise that will definitely contaminate it and you can scratch everything you touch afterwards. And now let's get the door jambs. So you usually do a little bit of a light spray, try not to get it in the interior. And then I always like to get inside the door, or the underside and side of the door as well. You can see kind of how dirty that gets just from road spray down here, even after washing the car. And over time, that can very much build up. Side effect of doing this, it also keeps those doors from dripping down and making the rest of your car dirty as it dries. And just like that, we're all washed. If needed, you can always clean the glass with the glass cleaner, spot clean any spots you may have missed with a waterless wash or quick detailer type spray. But I think we're all set, aside from cleaning the interior. Quick vacuum, quick wipe down with the EV Wash interior cleaner. All good to go, fresh as new. We're gonna pull out the glass cleaner here. We're gonna use the glass cleaning cloth, which is this absorbent one. We're gonna clean the mirrors. Having water spotted mirrors is one of my biggest pet peeves with cars. Took it right off. Let's clean the side glass too while we're at it. Just carefully absorb that. Windshield looks pretty darn good. Let's switch to the other side. got the interior cleaner. This does have a UV protectant as well, so it keeps your interior looking nice even with sun exposure. We're gonna be using the purple cloth for that. Kayla, if you wanna hop onto the passenger side, I'll go on the driver's side. So the ID4 has a ton of piano black surfaces which get covered in fingerprints. When cleaning interior, I always like to spray on the cloth rather than on the surface, so that way you don't get the spray in unintended places. Clean the steering wheel here on these capacitive touch controls. Clean the handles here. Clean the screens. A little spray. Since they are touchscreens, these are capacitive controls as well. I don't know if there's a screen cleaning mode on this car. And then we're also going to clean off the dash. It gets dusty, as it does in any car. And by using this, again, you get a little bit of a UV protectant, which, especially on Kalie's Mini, could come in very handy because mini dashes like to crack. And just like that, interior on the ID4 is looking new. We do need a vacuum quick, then this washing process will be all set. We're fortunate enough to have a vacuum built into our car wash bay at our apartment, so that's what I'm going to use. Otherwise, I normally use our Dyson handheld battery vacuum. That works quite well. The car isn't too dirty, but there are some debris on the floor mats, as just happens with life. We're going to get those cleaned up. Normally I would say pull out the floor mats and wash them, but this car has about 1,000 miles on it. So the floor mats aren't dirty enough to need to be pulled out and fully washed. But if you did, I would say pull them out, wash them when you're washing the car. Even use the car shampoo with the foam cannon, let it soak a little bit, use like a light brush, then hose them off. And if you want to make them look brand new, use a product called 303 Aerospace Protectant that kind of adds UV protection and also kind of restores the rubber a bit. But for now, we're done washing the ID4. We're gonna swap cars and wash the Mini Cooper SE from 700 miles of road trip grime next. For washing the Mini Cooper SE, Kalie's gonna be doing that. We unplugged the car here, putting the cap back on. Washing the car is probably the only time these caps are actually useful. And Kalie's gonna pull it over to the wash bay. Kalie's car is not as dirty as you would probably expect it to be after 700 miles. We had quite a bit of rain, but there are some bug guts and just general dirtiness, some water spots, all that fun stuff. But we need to start with spraying the car off with the pressure washer, which Kalie is grabbing right now.
I haven't used this.
You just pull it.
Oh, I know how to use a pressure washer. I just haven't used this one.
Now that we've got the cars nice and clean with Wash Your EV products, we use the interior cleaner on the interior here. We've transferred being filthy and dirty on the cars to us being filthy and dirty from it being hot out.
Yeah.
So it's time for us to go get clean. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that subscribe button, the like button, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.